Hey guys, happy Monday and welcome to Meal Prep Monday, episode number 5. Today I'm making one of my absolute favorites, which is vegan pho. So I am going to pretty much be walking you through every step. A couple of the last videos I've kind of fast-tracked it. So pretty much I'm going to do everything with you as it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. So what I've done, I've got my pan heating. It goes from 1 to 10. So right now it's on 3.5. So it's like medium low, I'd say. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a shallot. This is for 1 serving. This is just for me. So if you have a partner, you're making it for your family, you could double, triple, or quadruple it. So I'm taking a shallot. So this is like a quarter of a shallot. I am going to roughly chop this up. I want it to be decently small. If you don't have shallot, you could use like either red or white onion. I would probably suggest white, to be honest. I just love shallot. It has a little bit of a garlicky flavor, and we're not using garlic in this recipe, so it just has a really nice fragrance to it. Okay, so adding in my shallots. Again, that was about a quarter of like a regular size shallot, and now I'm adding in a little bit of sesame oil. So this is like a teaspoon, really small amount. Okay, so again, that's on really low. I just don't want it to burn. Okay, and now I'm gonna add in just a little bit of ginger. This is just for a tiny bit of flavor. So it's like a pretty thin slice is what I cut off. And then I'm gonna take off the outside. Okay, and it's just really rough. This is such a versatile recipe, by the way. If you don't have, I'm gonna let you know as we go through, if you don't have some of the ingredients, you can switch quite a bit. Some of them you can't, but quite a few of them. Okay, so ginger, again, just a rough chop. So a small piece. Okay, that's going in there, and then I'm gonna add my onions. I have 3 cremini mushrooms, the only thing I really did ahead of time. So 3 cremini brown mushrooms. To be honest, I usually always use portobello, but this didn't have any. So I really like the meatiness of portobello, but that's fine. These are still great. So I'm going to, I'm going to turn this up just a tiny bit. So it's at 4 or 5 now. So like pretty much medium. Okay, so that is cooking away. Now with the noodles. So I just got a regular gluten-free rice noodle. It's not brown rice. They had brown rice. I just chose to get the white. So it's totally up to you. So what I did, I used a quarter of the package. And as you can see here, see there, all I did was I put these in the bowl, and then I boiled water in my kettle, and then I turned off the kettle, let it sit for open the top, let it sit for like a minute so it cooled down a little bit, and then I poured it in there. So these noodles are like, you could eat them like this, and then I just drain them. So they don't need much at all. Like, don't boil them. You're just gonna ruin the noodle. They're just gonna like disintegrate. Okay, so those are just sitting. Those are basically done. I'll just add those at the end. So as the mushrooms are cooking down, yeah, I'm gonna turn that to like 5.5. Okay, so those are cooking. Now my tofu. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the pack that I got. This is organic sprouted. I love to get sprouted tofu because A, it's easier to digest, and B, the nutrient value is quite a bit higher. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, so basically as you can see, there's like 2 sides to it. So one side is gonna be like a little bit much for just myself. So here it is, it's firm. I'm going to put it in between a clean tea towel and just like push it down. I want to get there's a lot of water coming out right away. You can see kind of that. I want to get a decent amount of water out. See, like you can see there's quite a bit coming out. So I'm just going to press it and get some water out. You don't want it to fall apart. See, like it can be a little bit delicate. Okay, so all of this is gonna be too much for myself. So I'm gonna cut off like a third of it. Okay, so I'm having, this is the chunk that I'm having for reference. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this in cubes. It's okay if it falls apart a little bit. You want it to stay in some cubes, to be honest, if you can. I find with the sprouted, maybe it's just this brown, I don't know, it can fall apart on you. So if it does, that's fine. You have tofu crumbles. Okay, so popping that into the pan, you want this to brown. That's when a lot of flavor comes out. Okay, so again, this is on like 5-5, so medium heat. Okay, so that's gonna start browning up, but to get it nice and brown and flavorful, I'm gonna add in some tamari. I'm not going to, you know what, I'll measure. I never measure. Okay, I'm gonna be adding in, it's gonna equal, this is about 1.5 teaspoons, okay? So about 1.5 teaspoons. I always start with less because you can always add more, right? It's the worst when it's too salty and you just can't eat it. So 1.5 tablespoons. And you know what? Because I want it browned, I'm gonna turn up just a little bit more. Okay, so now it's at 7. Okay, so that's gonna be browning up there. Pretty much everything else is almost ready to go. Like, this is such a simple recipe. Okay, so things that I have that we're gonna be adding in pretty quick. Vegetable paste broth. So if you don't have this, if you have like a cube, you could crush a little bit of cube in it when you put it in. I love this stuff. It's so handy. I get it from Costco. And then broccoli. I couldn't find organic broccoli at the store. That wasn't super expensive. So I buy organic broccoli frozen quite often. It's so handy and it's way cheaper. So I've got some of this. This is probably equal to about a cup. I love lots of veggies in it. And then I've got cilantro. I've got avocado. I have lemon. I forgot to get lime. Okay, yeah, perfect. It's browning up nicely. Okay, so this is browning up nicely. Again, I'm just gonna let this keep going. It doesn't need too much longer. To be honest, you could literally just throw the tofu in the soup and not even brown it. I just like the taste of it brown. Okay, so, oh yeah, the other thing is jalapeno. This is optional. I love the fresh. I'm just gonna cut this right now as this is cooking. So I'm just gonna take out the seeds. I mean, you could leave the seeds in, but it's gonna be very spicy. And I think I'm pretty good with spice, but just the seeds can be a little bit much. So I'm going to cut this in small pieces. And in traditional pho, to be honest, there's like star anise, there's like, you could add fennel, you could add like cinnamon. To be honest, that's just a little bit too crazy for me, and I'm not that authentic with my recipe. I just like it to be easy and quick. So if you want it more authentic, you can always add things like that in it. But I find the shallot, the ginger, I find all of that kind of adds enough for me. Okay, so the other thing that I like to add, this you could get away with not adding in, Shiro white miso paste. So this, like, I've had this forever, like this lasts forever, and it's so good to add in sauces. It adds like a really good umami flavor. So yes, you could probably get away without it, but I love it. And you can get this like anywhere. It's often by like the cheeses or eggs. So I'm gonna add in, sorry, I'm gonna wait to add that in, but you don't need a ton. And then the last thing is tamari. So that's gluten-free soy sauce, or like Bragg's. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and then it's just water. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. So this is browning up. You can probably see that. That's browning up there. So that is pretty much, I'd say, a tiny bit more. Almost there. And then also with the sesame oil, you could use regular oil. You could use coconut oil, not regular oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil. That's pretty, like, you could get away with a lot. And then instead of the mushrooms, if you don't like mushrooms, switch it for like bok choy. Or if you like mushrooms, add in bok choy too. Or, you know, there's so many other things that you could add in. It's pretty versatile. I just find the broccoli, the mushrooms, I really like that combo. And then same with the avocado. You don't have to add an avocado. I just find it adds like such a nice creaminess. Again, this is obviously not super authentic. I understand that, but I really like it with the avocado. Okay, so everything is pretty much cooked. Like, this is the only thing you have to cook. Okay. So now that's pretty much done. I'm just gonna chop up, because I want it to brown a tiny bit more. I'm gonna chop up green onion. Sorry, I think I forgot to say this. This is quite a bit, just for myself. I like getting the green and the white part in there. So I'm just gonna chop it up really thinly. And then obviously just go as you as you go, just start adding more of anything that you want, really. It's such an easy recipe. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn this down to about like a 5. That's pretty browned up. As you can see, looks delicious. It smells so good. I wish you guys could smell this. Okay, nice and browned. All right, what to add in first? Water. Okay, so I have a cup here of 2 cups of water. So I'm basically just gonna add that in. And then the veg broth. Okay, so here's my miso paste. That's even a little bit much. I'd say half a teaspoon. Again, start with less and then go with more. And then same thing, half a teaspoon of the veg broth. You don't need a ton. Like, you get a lot of flavor from onions, all that kind of stuff. And then you don't want it to be too salty, right? So if you need to, just add more. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be needing a little bit more water. So mine's gonna end up being about 3 cups. Okay, that's good there. And now I'm gonna add my broccoli. That's pretty defrosted. Okay, organic broccoli is in. This looks so good. Okay, and then a tiny bit more soy sauce. It's gonna be, okay, so I used a teaspoon and a half earlier. It's gonna be like another half teaspoon. So all in all, it's gonna be about 2 teaspoons. Yeah, there we go. Again, you're getting flavor from like the veg broth paste and the miso paste. So if you didn't add in the miso paste, maybe you might have to add a little bit more of the tamari. Again, everybody kind of has their own preference with this one, I find, and how salty you like it. Okay, and then I'm gonna start, sorry, don't want this video to be super long. Okay, so I'm just gonna cube up my avocado. I usually use about 1/3 of an avocado in each one. And then I'm going to add in, I'm gonna chop up a little bit of cilantro. Again, cilantro doesn't usually go in it, but I love it. You could add basil, you could add nothing. Okay, pop in my noodles. This is actually even a lot more than I thought it would be. Okay, pop in the noodles. If I had lime, I would use lime, but I'm using lemon. Popping in my cilantro. And this looks incredible. I'm adding in my green onion and the jalapeno. And I'm adding in the avocado. Oh my God, this looks so good. So yeah, you could definitely live out the avocado if you want. You could add even like prawns instead of tofu. If you eat prawns, it'd be so delicious. Okay, I'm gonna kind of tilt this up so you can see how good that looks. It's so delicious. So that was like about 10 minutes. I hope you enjoy. Create change in my body, and that's these things.